Hey guys, welcome to the channel. I'm very excited to share with you this Grand Seiko limited non-US model, the SBGV247. Now this one was lent in by a friend and viewer out in New York, so a big shout out to him for lending in such a cool piece. It really is a treat. Seiko is my favorite brand, my personal favorite brand, and to have a Grand Seiko here, especially one that's really cool and has some pretty sweet technology, is always a pleasure. So I'll begin the review by placing some dimensions here on the screen so you guys can see the size of this piece. A little over, just a hair over 40 millimeters in diameter, 12 in height with 20 millimeter lugs, and a relatively short lug to lug length of 47. So a very wearable watch. And I think it actually wears a little bit smaller than its size states. So I'll place a wrist shot here so you guys can see it on my 7.25 inch wrists. It does look sharp. All of the brushing here, the angular nature of the case with the chamfered Shiratsu polished edges, it looks good. And I love how the brushed bezel really ties in with the brushed Dauphine style hands with the polished edges and the very faint loom strip in the center of each hand. There's some really nice visual balance, I think, between the finishes and just how much the case as well as the handset grab light and kind of bring your attention to the high level of execution found here. So let's take a look on a macro level where you guys can see this beautiful textured dial. It's a blue color, and if we rotate the watch, you can see a G and an S replicated in that pattern on the dial. Very cool. Seiko, they really can make some impressive dials, and Grand Seiko is no exception. They've really taken this to the next level. We have applied faceted indices with the railroad style application of loom. So again, they do grab light. They look very dynamic. I like the logo. If we go in close, we can see an applied metal logo with metallic printing of the Grand Seiko. One of the things that's interesting is if we look at the dial, if we zoom back out, we can see that there is no text below the hand stack. Normally you see either the name of the watch or its water resistance or if it's automatic or not. Brands, they really like to show stuff on that real estate on the dial. And Grand Seiko, they don't do that. They have their name up here, and then down here, if you look below the 6 o'clock marker, you can see that the Japan and the movement designation just done very, very small. But I like the balance here, and I like the fact that Grand Seiko doesn't feel the need to fill the dial with text. That it looks good without it. So I really like that. I think that's a nice choice. Now, let's take a look at the movement of this watch. This is a high accuracy quartz. It is the 9F82 caliber, one of the nicest quartz movements that you can buy. I'll drop in a picture of what it looks like because it looks like no other quartz movement. It's beautifully finished, and it's got some really impressive technology here. It's going to be accurate to 10 seconds per year, which is very nice. There are some quartz movements that can outpace that, but none that are done more beautifully than this one. So I really appreciate this movement. It's got a 3-year battery life, and if you look at the second sand, it hits every tick perfectly. I think that is just a joy to look at. It's always frustrating. You guys know the feeling when your quartz tick is just a little bit off of each mark. That, I don't know, maybe it's the OCD in us crazy watch fans, but that is always annoying, and that's not going to be found here on this 9F82 from Grand Seiko. Now this watch, this one is limited to 1,000 units, and you can see that if I show you the case back here. This is number 574. It is the 25th anniversary of this caliber, the 9F, and you can see that engraved here. It says since 1993. So it's cool that Grand Seiko took the opportunity to give us a very beautiful sport piece with this caliber on an anniversary, the 25-year anniversary of its inception. So I like that, and it's unlike any other. You can see this fabric strap with a metal deployant here. It's a little different. Use of orange as an accent color with the blue. you know, how the texture of the dial plays in with the texture of the textile strap. This one's a fun watch. It really is. This also comes with a silicone strap, which I think I personally prefer because I could take this in water. I wouldn't be able to do that with the fabric here, but this watch does carry 200 meters of water resistance. So if you wanted to swim with it, you know, take it to the beach, absolutely could do that if you wanted to. Probably not everybody would want to do that with a Grand Seiko because they're so beautifully finished, but you could if you wanted to. And so it's nice that Grand Seiko does supply the silicone, but I have it here on the fabric strap. This watch retails for 356,400 Japanese yen, which with conversion rates, how they flux, or how they're in influx, is about 3,000 US dollars. So it's by no means an inexpensive watch, and there are some other great options at the price point, not only from Grand Seiko, but from some Swiss companies as well. But if you want something that's truly limited, that's a non-US model, that has some really interesting elements, I think this one is definitely a fun pickup. So big shout out to my friend that lent this one in. I'm going to leave his name out as a personal request, but I really appreciate lending this in. I mean, this really means a lot to me. And I hope you guys have enjoyed the video. So let me know if you have any questions. I'll reach out to me in the comment section or via email, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Cheers.